Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. A very warm welcome to Meet Menaca, episode 122, Role of South Asian Women in Politics, with Mayor Nagus Narenthira, who is the Mayor of London Borough of Barnet in UK. The talk show was born with a mission to touch and inspire 1 million hearts and lives, improving health, happiness, and hope. We feature experts in their respective fields and real people sharing real stories to create a positive social change. We would be delighted to have everyone join and create that ripple effect to make that change, the positive change, what we need as a society and across borders. Why we invited Mayor Nagus Narenthira as a speaker. He's the 58th Mayor of the London Borough of Barnet, United Kingdom. She was born and brought up in Sri Lanka. She had a primary and secondary education in a well-known independent school in the town of Jaffna. She graduated from the University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka, and then went on to read the MPhil in entomology at the Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture of Sri Lanka. She worked as a lecturer in the University of Peradeniya, research officer at Department of Agriculture, and lecturer at the Teaching Training College in Sri Lanka. She then came to UK in 1987. She joined Mill Hill County High School as a science and biology teacher in 1990 and then served there for 27 years. She was elected as the local and negotiating secretary for Barnet Teaching Union in 2012 and supported many teachers in their employment disputes. She was active in the community for several years before she was elected as the councillor for Colindale in Barnet Council in 2014. She was re-elected in 2018. She was elected to a new ward, Colindale South, in 2022. On May 23, Councillor Narenthira was sworn in as the Mayor of Barnet. Ms. Narenthira has served in Children Education and Safeguarding Committee, Community Leadership and Libraries Committee, and Planning Committee. She is the chair of Planning Committee A and West Area Committee at present, and enjoying the challenges these roles pose to her. I'm sure there are plenty. Ms. Narenthira has been a school governor of 3 schools in Barnet. She's also the chair of Gold Star Federation and worked tirelessly for the school community. She's very much involved within the Tamil community, who she is part of. Why should you be part of the tribe and support the role of South Asian women in politics? We also celebrated, as part of the Celebrating South Asian Heritage Month, we learned what helps and hinders South Asian women joining and thriving in politics. I think it's time for us to think, are our cultural norms, social structure, and expectations, particularly from women, are they enhancing the possibilities or creating roadblocks and barriers in the political journey of women? So who better to talk about that than someone who has really gone through those good and the bad times at a roller coaster ride, I'm sure, than talk about to this particular topic. Firstly, a very warm welcome to you, Mayor Nagus Narenthira, and it's such a pleasure to have you on board.
Thank you.
Let's cut to the chase and deep dive into what we want to talk about today. Can you tell us what brought you into politics? Because we are all aware it's not something that women, in particularly South Asian women, get into very easily.
Thank you, Menaca. I was interested in politics from my school days. My school friends will know how knowledgeable I was when I was at school. I followed the news and followed certain politicians at that time. I made a scrapbook collecting pictures of political events from newspapers when I was at primary school, and it was not seen as a strange thing at that time. I always wanted to help others. I found immense satisfaction in helping other people, and I thought if I'm representing an electorate, I could do that better, and I will have a chance to do that. I did not have much chance in Sri Lanka as I had cultural restrictions and my parents would not have let me to enter politics in Sri Lanka. I would say a chance to enter politics is one of the many things UK has given me.
I think said it like it is. There are a lot of cultural barriers, and definitely politics is not something we are encouraged. And even now, perhaps we don't encourage our next generation, which is true. Why do you think it is important to address the topic women in politics as such?
Female gender is a very gentle but firm gender. We understand people's feelings and emotions well and sympathize with them. We are also good at decision making and can multitask. We all make good leaders. Asia produced many female prime ministers, and we can't forget the first female prime minister is from Sri Lanka. As Asian women, we should be proud of this and follow suit and endeavor to become active in politics. Otherwise, we are not doing justice to our countries. Having said that, there are some women who have made a lot of progress from South Asian background recently and done well all over the world, but the numbers aren't enough. So we need to have more people coming forward for that. Thank you.
You will be much more well-versed with this kind of statistics than I will ever do. In Sri Lanka, yes, we are proud to say that we had the first prime minister, but how many women are actually active in politics or reach that kind of rank of following that is the question perhaps we need to think about. Local level politics, district level politics and the main politics. And even in the West, but are we really doing enough? But I'm sure we will talk about that. As a woman who has taken up politics very seriously, what do you think are the constraints for women to take up politics seriously as a South Asian woman?
Thank you, Menaca. We bear children and we have the duty to bring them up and look after them until they're self-sufficient. This takes up many years of our lives. We are also obliged to earn an income to support our partners or husbands. So women do not have much time to pursue themselves to achieve whatever they want to achieve. The nature of politics is such that we need to be expected to work with the constituents and become popular and convince the electorate to vote for us. Only then we will be selected as a candidate to stand in an election. So for that, we need a lot of hard work, lot of extra time, simply not available for women's lives. I would also like to address that politics at local level does not bring enough earnings for living. So people have to do a main job. This restricts the time they have to be involved in politics. Politics can only be a career. At parliamentary level, it can be a career politics. But until then, that income is not enough. So therefore, it's not possible to be a full-time politician unless you are paid with money. This becomes almost impossible when you have a family to take care of physically and financially. So that's the main constraint women have got.
And I totally understand the financial constraint, but as a culture and social construct, is there anything as a South Asian woman in particular preventing women from going into politics?
South Asian culture encourages a male-dominant society, and whether you like it or not, that's the truth. Men do not feel that they have a role to play in household duties. So it is the women who has to cook, clean, bring up children, and contribute to household income by going to work. So it becomes almost impossible to find the extra time to succeed in politics. But I'm glad to say that the younger generation of South Asian men are much more compliant in sharing the family duties with their wives and partners. And so therefore we can hope there will be more South Asian women politicians coming up in future.
I know you are a wife, you're a mother, you're a grandmother, and a successful politician. So how do you manage your time doing all this?
I struggled when my son was young, but I was only a volunteer at that time in politics. So therefore, I can turn up when I have time. I don't have a particular schedule to work to, or I didn't get paid or anything like that. I only stood for elections after my son has entered university, which gave me a breathing space. I was very passionate about helping people who are struggling in their life. And that gave me the passion and the interest and the time and the energy that is needed. I'm able to help individuals. I'm able to contribute to shaping up policies. It gave me a great positive outcome because of these involvements. So I made sure I set my priorities right. Being retired from my teaching job also gave me the extra time I needed to be a politician. And so I only entered politics in a very late stage of my life. And so therefore, I don't have many years left to progress in politics from here. So like for parliamentary stage, I feel that I'm too old to do that. So this is a constraint that we have got. If we don't go into politics early enough, then we don't have many years left to go to the top level. So local level politics, as I said before, doesn't bring much income. So these are the main things that we have got. But I'll say, like, as a grandmother, I will not compromise anything for spending time with my grandkids. They're very special. So even politics would not take up my time when it comes to grandkids, because they are so special. I was there this morning with them before I came home to actually do this show. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm sure your grandkids are blessed. And I think in my personal experience as well, everyone is a much better grandparent than a parent. They become a totally different kind of person, more empathetic, more understanding. I think something switches on. And actually, I was at a function yesterday, and someone I know quite well showed his granddaughter's picture and said, oh, like now my entire life revolves around it. If I'm not with the grandchildren, I'm seeing their pictures. So I can totally relate to it. So thank you for, making it at a more human level. Thank you. But if a woman in South Asian community like ours wants to enter politics, what would be your advice for them?
I would say they need to dream about it. They need to have dreams. They should make sure they need to let people around them know their ambitions and aspirations. They need to plan their lives in such a way that they make time for themselves. They need to start working with the communities around them. Let themselves known to the people around them. Many women politicians are the mums who fought for a crossing in front of their children's primary school. And you would have, I've known many in this country, that's how they entered politics, by getting petitions signed, going to council meetings, giving the petitions and talking on behalf of those people. Then you develop those skills. And also other people know that you have got these skills so that you can represent them. You become a member of your preferred political party. I'm not suggesting or subscribing any political party, but anything that you want to become a party member is very important, and start going to meetings, working with people. Get yourselves known to the political community around you. Write letters to the newspapers on current issues. So read the newspapers, be in touch with the current politics. Once you have established in this way, the local community would want you to represent them. And then you can put yourself forward to be selected as a candidate from your party. And then you need the hard work starts from that. And then you need to work hard, leafleting, door knocking, convincing people to vote for you. So it's a long journey and it's a hard journey.
We are very aware, let's face it, particularly in our community, we know that a community, in the sense, not only one particular community, we are talking broadly about the South Asian community. Abuse in women is very common in different forms and shapes. We all have faced it perhaps in one form or the other. As a politician, what is your take on it and what can we do about it?
Abuse in the community is becoming prevalent. It is not only happening in domestic situations, but in workplaces and social settings as well. Abuse need not be always physical abuse. Mental, emotional, and even financial abuse are all not acceptable. For example, if a woman is not paid equally to the man in a workplace, I would call it as financial abuse of the woman. So the first thing that needs to happen is the sufferer should not be afraid to report the abuse. So if a woman thinks that she is abused in woman or even a man thinks that they are abused in certain way, they should report it to the authorities. But there is a big stumbling block there. People don't want to be seen as troublemakers. They don't report when they see abuse. So we need to have support mechanisms so the sufferer will feel safe to report it. Sometimes the abuser might not realize his or her behavior is affecting the other person. So it's unknowingly they are abusing somebody else. So people need to be educated in understanding what behaviors could cause trauma to another person's life and how reconciliation could be achieved by effective communication. So we as politicians have a huge role to play in this. And I hope the measures that will be taken in future will help those people so that they are not abused and they are not suffering because of the abuse. Thank you.
This is a topic close to my heart because, as working in different charitable organizations, witnessing things happening, or even to yourself, others, I'm so glad you touched upon the fact it's not just physical abuse. It is mental abuse, psychological abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, the financial control sometimes. And I think as a society, sometimes I think I resonated with your point there that we almost blame the victim than the perpetrator. So it's something that has to change. And that is the main reason I think such abuses don't come to light. And we have put very tight social constructs around women and how the expectations around them. I think they all have become barriers. And I really hope, like you said, it is work in progress and hope slowly but surely we'll get there. And for women to voice out more than anything else. I think once they voice out, the legal system, I think, is quite, robust. But it is a social support construct, I think, is something we all have to work together to provide that structure and support for those who need it at that time. How can men or the system, we both agree that, and I'm sure everyone who is listening to us will agree that we do need to change the system. So how can men as allies and or the system encourage women in politics and grow into politics?
Men should change their attitude and see women as equal partners in everything they do. They should appreciate what women do to their families and the communities. Political parties encourage women to participate in creating all women shortlists. You must have heard about that. Certain constituencies only shortlist women so that a woman would be selected as the candidate. And if they win, then they will be representing people. So political parties are consciously giving chance for women because they know that women are underrepresented. The system should give the confidence women need so they believe they are valued and they are needed. So at the moment, there's a bit of a lack of confidence in women and so lack of appreciation. So women don't want to come forward because people think, oh what's the point? Because I will be treated as a second-class citizen anyway. So that kind of attitude should change. There's lots more to be done in this area. And women are very much underrepresented in governments and parliaments all over the world, not only in this country or developing and South Asian countries, everywhere. So everyone knows that, is that everyone is working towards that. I'm sure eventually, one day, we will reach the equality, I hope.
Thank you. Because I think it's very important, to know and understand. I think not that no one wants to help them or support them. I think people don't sometimes know how to support them or how to encourage them to do. So I think talking like this and empowering them, also sharing the knowledge, what can help them to grow, perhaps will, do the job. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So we said that how can men encourage, how can a social system encourage, and system altogether can encourage. Can you tell me, why must we encourage more women to come into politics? Why must we do it, and why is it so important?
As I said before, women have very special characteristics which will complement the strengths men have. So this means we are creating a better society, better policies, and bring better quality of life for all of them, all of us. Men should not think that women are a competition for them. They should feel that they are supported by women to make this world a better place to live. So if we have that attitude, I think women will be given the place that they need, and they'll be encouraged to take part in not only in politics, in any career. So this is what we need to remember. We are equal partners. We are there to support men. We have the idea that we are there is to make this world a better place to live for everybody, for our children, for our grandchildren, for the future. So that's what I think. That's the attitude that will make women feel comfortable.
We are all for men growing in politics and chasing their dream. And I don't think no one should ask for and should never think of a dream of getting there at the cost of someone else. But I think we are talking about these equal opportunities and equal rights to do what they want to do. If someone wants to become a politician and takes politics seriously, they should be given that chance and nurture them to get there. And if they can get there, they should be able to get there. I think that's the point. That's what you're raising here. We already spoke about what advice you would give for women as such. But if as a society, like we have a lot of forums like ourselves, we invite you and say, okay, we have so many social gatherings, social constructs. How can we as a society help them or make this happen? Because I think what I really liked and resonated with is a lot of policies regarding women. Maybe it's menopause at work. Maybe it is, a maternity leave, or maybe it's about nursing moms, or it's menstruation. Those policies, I think there should be I'm very firm on this. I think there should be a woman on the table to make the decisions, because it is regarding women. And I think it'll make a huge impact. And I think that is an understanding we should all have. So as a society, as a charitable organizations, or as a community, what can we do to make that happen?
Yes, so so as you said, a woman should be there taking part in making these policies, because then the true situation of the woman would be reflected in these policies. The unions are fighting for policies for women, and they are getting there. So like maternity, and then I still find that when people, because I'm a union representative as well, as you said before, for teachers union, and when they return to work after 1 year maternity leave, and when they want to become part-time, the employer is not obliged to give part-time. And obviously, and I know many people have to sort of give their jobs up because they can't afford the cost of childminding for a 1-year-old child. So therefore, the option is to give up their job. So that should not be the case. If a woman wants to work, that all the facilities need to be done for the woman to go back to work. And if she wants to become part-time, for at least until the children are grown up. That facility should be there. So there are lots of things like menopause problems and period problems. Then some people, that has become to light as well in the unions, that so some women miss work days because of their period problems. So all those kind of things had to be sorted out. Things are at a very basic level. People know the problems, but solutions are not straightforward. So those solutions need to be put in, as you said, in law, so that everybody is benefiting by that, any employee from any organization. So we are, in that way, we have got a long way to go. So we keep fighting. We'll get eventually, everybody will understand our problems. And I think having leeways for these problems will actually encourage women to become more active in workplace or in politics or any other field. And that is better for the country. And that is better for the men as well at the end of the day. So they cannot forget that fact. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it's such a valid point, because if it is like almost having employers not having an employee on the table to sort out their own problem. That's why we have unions, to representatives of employees to come and sort out the problem. Like that, if you are going to help solve a problem of a particular sector, then you have to have them at the table to be able to understand the problem in the first place, so that you can come up with good solutions. I think that's what we are talking about here. Another aspect in politics we spoke about is as well, how many single women are actually there in politics? I know there are many constraints, because obviously we spoke about childcare, we spoke about financial restrictions, and on top of it, the psychological constraints as well, and the opinions people have. What do you think?
Yes, so we have spoke about many of the stumble blocks that women have. So first of all, in the workplace, that needs to be sorted out. And also generally, there should be an encouraging mode, encouraging atmosphere for women to come out and do more social things, more community work. So for that, they need to be given time as well. So if they're actually doing all the housework all the time, looking after the kids, and as I said, you don't get time to do all those things until you're very late in your life. And then you have got, age then catches up, doesn't it? Because if you're older, then you won't have that kind of enthusiasm as you're younger. But as I said to you before, as I said in this show before, that the younger generation, men are different. They're actually realizing that giving equal, doing everything equally in their lives actually benefits them, benefits the family. So therefore, they are actually taking part more in looking after their kids, the housework and everything else. So I think I can see that green shoots of this problem getting solved in the future. I think there will be more women who will be encouraged to take part in politics and take part in the community work. So which will actually be very good for the community.
What do you think of role as parents to encourage now the next generation to go into politics? We talked about, as we are the first generation of migrants here, and there are some people who are listening to us from other parts of the world, from India, from Sri Lanka. But how are we going to encourage our next generation to take up politics as a serious career option?
Yeah, as I said, as parents, the parents always want their children to do well in their life. So they will want a good qualification for their children, and also to earn a good amount of money to run their lives. As I said, in local politics at the local level, the income is not there. So therefore, the parents would not want their children to be a full-time local politician, because that means that they're never going to thrive in life, because they will not be able to buy their own property or sort of have a family, support their children. So therefore, the way to go is, even in local politics, if the politicians had to spend the full time in their communities, they should be paid more. And again, that question comes, where does the money come from? Because all the local councils the budgets have been cut so badly, we are unable to even provide the basic services. So it's a long, strong question. I don't know what the answer is. So this is why. So if you're going into national politics, then again, where do we find the time? Somebody goes to graduate to universities to study, and then that's time consuming. Then they pass out. But when they pass out and get a degree, then they will look for a job which pays them well. So that job cannot be the MP job, because they would not have had the time to actually work towards becoming an MP. So there is so much to think about in this, as to how we can encourage younger generation to come into politics. I always, the younger councillors who work with me, I always sympathize with them, because I know that they don't have the time. I know that they've got to do a full-time job. And on top of that, they've actually, through their kind heart, they have actually giving their time for the community, because they are so much community-minded. So I really applaud them for doing that. So I know their difficulties. I don't expect them to be there all the time doing all the things that I'm doing, because I finished my career and then I've got the time to do more things.
Yeah. I think it is equality comes into play as well, right? Because financially, if you have somebody supporting you at home financially, you don't have that background, then it's almost eliminates the option of even considering politics as a serious option till, like you said, till later in life, if you're lucky to get there.
Yeah, that's why they say that, we believe that we should not be, where you're born or which family you're born into should not determine where you get to. But that is the case. If parents are very influential, very much financially okay, then obviously they're going to support their children, and they probably can not do a full-time job to earn the money, so they will have time to sort of settle in politics. And if you look at the political history of Britain and even in Sri Lanka, if you trace the families, that's the case, isn't it?
100%. I have been in social discussions where people say, we want to find, why do they ever want to come into politics? Why do they ever want to do this? It's a difficult job, it doesn't pay well. And also, whether we like it or not, a lot of our personal lives get discussed about. I think there are so many different barriers why people really don't want to come into politics. We have the audience here, and I think most of them, particularly from South Asian background today. What are the things you would want them to remember and share with other people and encourage them to get into politics, particularly women?
I would urge women to have their own ambitions and aspirations. So you need to sort of think about what kind of person I'm going to be. Okay, now I've got the family, I'm doing this, but when there's a time when my children have grown up, when I've retired, what am I going to do with my life? And I have seen lots of my friends doing a lot of things that they were interested in now. So that kind of thing, if you think about it, and if you think that politics will be something that you would like to do, then you can't wait till you get to that stage, because that will be too late. But you need to incorporate your pathway while you are young. So, like as I said, join a political party, attend meetings, volunteer, things like that you need to do. And please allocate time for yourself among your busy schedule. So sometimes we don't even think about what we are going to do in future, because we don't have the time to think about, tomorrow. So how will we find the time to think about 50 years later? So please allocate time for yourself. Remember that you have a valuable part to play in the society, and the society needs you. So every woman, so you can't think that your family is your circle. No, you have to widen your circle. You are needed out there. There are lots of, I meet a lot of volunteers as the mayor, and I am sort of really humbled by the number of hours they volunteer. And if they don't volunteer like that, we would not be able to produce loads of services that we are producing, giving to people at the moment. So volunteering is something very good, and you feel good about that within yourself, and the society needs you. Women are not competing with men, but complementing their work. So men need to remember that as well. We are not competing with men. We don't want your jobs, but we want to support you to make this world a better place to live. So if men realize that, they probably will have a different perspective towards this. And we are all humans, and we are here to achieve the best for the humankind. So that's how I like to finish.
There are many things people have started asking questions. Thank you for people who are putting through the questions already, which is always a good sign. Thank you. And before we go into the next session and what we want to do, I just want to ask, what is your suggestion, feedback about the talk show? Anything we would want us to do differently, or how we can evolve and contribute more?
I thank you, Dr. Menaca, Dr. Lingam, and my friend Raj Madhavan and all the other people, my student Tara. So I taught her when I was teaching at Mill Hill County, for giving me the opportunity to take part in this show. And I've been the follower of this show because this is the 122nd show. There were 121 shows before that. And we have invited 121 people or even more people before that. And I have benefited from your talks immensely, especially the health talks. I have actually benefited from it. And you have, and especially through COVID times, when we were stuck at home, and Zoom is the only thing that sort of gave us any kind of consolation. It was very useful to have these meetings and also get some health tips and various other, the topics you choose are always very trendy. So that always brings a lot of conversation, also make us think about that topic. So that's very, very useful. And please carry on doing this. And then I will introduce more people to you as well, so that you can invite them and get these shows going. And you're doing a marvelous job. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate a lot. Thank you. It really means a lot as well. Thank you so much. I just want to announce the next episode, what we are going to talk about, something close to my heart, and hope it will resonate with you as well. Next month, first week. So firstly, the announcement for everyone. Please note, we only do the first week of every month from now on. I know people send me text messages and asking. Sincere apology. My personal difficulties, health, loss of lives. So we were not able to show up as how we were doing it. The hope is from now on, you will be seeing us every first week of every month. So that's the plan. So on the 1st of October, following that, we will be having our episode 123. The topic will be, is beauty still skin deep? Namrata Das from Bangalore. She has been practicing hypnotherapy, part-life regression, neuro-linguistic programming for over 11 years. As the founder of Melura Services, she offers solutions for a wide variety of problems, including but not limited to mental health disorders, that is anxiety, depression, PTSD, stress management, emotional and sexual abuse, trauma healing, phobias, addictions, smoking, alcohol, substances, weight loss, corporate hypnotherapy, and sports hypnotherapy as well. Additionally, I know, and I have seen her writing, I witnessed her writing as well. She's a freelance writer, adept at weaving creative and technical content alike, and is also working on her first book, a fantasy that deconstructs complex psychological themes and serves as a foil for unjust social hierarchy systems that plague the Indian society. This is her words, not mine. So it will be interesting to see why is beauty skin deep. Is it real? And is it how we still see it to be? Now, over to Raj Madhavan to give the vote of thanks.
For those who don't know me, I am Raj Madhavan, connecting from Canada. On behalf of Meet Menaca Celebrating You team, I have the honor and privilege in presenting the vote of thanks to Mayor Nagus Narenthira. Thank you, Mayor Nagus Narenthira, for accepting our invite to be part of the Meet Menaca Celebrating You talk show today and sharing your story of what it took as an immigrant woman of South Asian origin, which is Sri Lanka, to become the mayor of the prestigious London Borough of Barnet in the UK. It is indeed a very, very powerful presentation. I honestly enjoyed listening to you. Being an immigrant and a woman and being in a very competitive, complex political field, becoming a mayor of London Borough of Barnet, which is the second largest borough in London in UK, and leading a team of 63 councillors and governing its 21 political wards, consisting of population of 390,000 people. To me, it's a very big deal and a great achievement. Hope many here would agree that mayor has always been a male-dominated position. Based on a recent statistic, 65% of mayors are men and only 35% are women. As Stephen Richard quoted, the true measure of success is how many times you bounce back from failure. I'm sure you would have had tons of setbacks behind your journey of becoming a mayor, but due to the time limits, we would not hear all of them from you today. And finally, on behalf of Meet Menaca team, my sincere thanks to Mayor Nagus Narenthira for taking your time, coming to our show, and presenting an amazing talk on the role of South Asian women in politics. Personally, I too enjoyed the privilege of presenting this vote of thanks to Mayor Narenthira, as I know you from our time when we were in early 20s, when we both went to university together at the University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka. And since then, we both stay friends. And I still have the privilege of calling you Nagesh. Thank you again, Mayor Nagus Narenthira, for being with us and sharing your story. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words, Raj.
Thank you so much,
You're
Raj. I appreciate that. And thank you so much. And, I can see how popular you are already, Nagus, because a lot of your classmates and batchmates have showed up and to ask questions and, to actively taking part. They say, as they say, proof is in the pudding, and there you are. It shows what kind of person you are. So, such a pleasure and privilege to have you on the show. So thank you very much.